In ancient Rome, the wealthy class was hated and despised by the poor, and who could blame them? When you consider the actions of the depraved Emperor Caligula, or the cruelty of Emperor Nero. But did you know that the prosperity gap between the wealthy and the poor in America today is twice as large as it was during the times of ancient Rome? Does this mean the American Empire is headed for a total collapse like the Roman Empire did? Stay tuned. This is Mind Guild. The truth is that Americans should be very concerned as to what caused the Roman Empire to collapse. To begin with, the structure of the American government is based largely on the Roman Republic. Secondly, there are countless parallels between the two societies. We are going to specifically examine 8 major factors that should serve as a wake-up call for all Americans. Factor 1. Cheap foreign labor. During its peak, the Roman economy met labor demands by utilizing foreign slaves. This increased profits, but it also took jobs from Roman citizens, making them more dependent on the government. Worse yet, as the slaves became liberated, they demanded a fair wage, and this had a devastating effect on the Roman economy. American businesses have been utilizing cheap foreign labor for decades. In fact, it is estimated that over 90% of all American apparel is made by foreign workers. What's going to happen when these workers also begin demanding a fair wage? Factor number 2. People are controlled by debt. When Rome was sacked by the Gauls in the north, they were forced to pump a fortune into the military budget. Taxes went up, and the poor became bankrupt. Romans found themselves quickly overwhelmed with debt, and they begged the government for debt forgiveness. Leaders like Julius Caesar promised the people free bread and entertainment. This was so popular with the masses that they were willing to give up their right to vote as the republic became an empire. Today, most Americans carry a lot of debt, which often begins with a hefty student loan. And we've all seen the political movements today which seek to provide the people with free education and health care. And some of these movements even promise to forgive current student debts. What will the people have to give up to receive these proposed benefits? Factor number 3. Printing money doesn't save economies. As the Roman Empire grew, expenses and greed got higher. The Emperor Nero began to use less silver and Roman coins so that he could print even more money. This idea ruined the Roman economy over time because future emperors did the exact same thing. And over time, inflation went wild and Roman coins became worthless. Today, many experts claim that the United States is doing the exact same thing by selling too many treasury bonds, particularly to the Chinese. This is increasing in national debt, which will crush the American economy eventually, unless something is done soon. Factor number 4. Underestimating the barbarians. If there is one major irony regarding the mighty Roman Empire, it's the way they underestimated smaller barbarian armies. While they easily defeated advanced societies, they often got crushed by the barbarians. Attila the Hun is one of the biggest examples of this. America today appears to suffer from the same irony, as evidenced by the falling Twin Towers of 9/11. Instead of learning from the Romans, the U.S. has allowed several smaller, dangerous terrorist organizations to grow and form globally. America's leaders have repeatedly underestimated this threat, and because of this lackadaisical attitude, these dangerous elements are establishing themselves well within the borders of America herself. Competitive empires from the East. During the reign of the Roman Empire, there was another powerful nation called Parthia. Early on, these two nations realized that neither could destroy the other, so they decided to sign a peace treaty and become trade partners. The two countries didn't trust or like each other, and they tried to beat each other in every deal. As lucrative markets opened up from the east, diplomats from eastern countries weren't allowed to pass through Carthia to deal with the Romans. As a result, Rome was denied potential economic and military allies. This arrangement between Rome and Parthia should sound very familiar because it is almost the exact arrangement that America has with China today. Both nations are strong and competitive, and yet China controls many of America's relationships from eastern countries like North Korea and Taiwan. Factor number 6. Don't train barbarians in advanced warfare. While Attila and the Huns didn't invade Rome, the Visigoths did, and for good reason. The barbaric Visigoths had been trained by the Romans and were well versed in Roman tactics. The Roman army was powerless in trying to stop this barbaric horde. Years earlier, Rome began hiring Visigoths and Gauls to fill up their legions. This was a decision they would later regret. America has made the same mistake in the Middle East, as they have trained countless Islamic soldiers. Among those trained were the Taliban and Osama bin Laden himself. Factor number 7. Big military budgets bankrupt big countries. Rome learned that being a world superpower means that you become a very big target. You are forced to defend your empire, and the costs are enormous. They had no choice but to increase taxation. This led to poverty and high unemployment. In the later stages of the Roman Empire, there were lots of riots and unrest. Today, America spends roughly $600 billion annually for its military. To put this in perspective, this is equal to almost a third of the entire world's military budget. One can only ask, how long can the U.S. keep meeting this demand? Factor number 8. A sharp decline in patriotism. Patriotism was very high in Rome initially. There was a strong sense of purpose and everything was done for the glory of Rome. There was a strong community and everything was done for the common good. Over time, this patriotism diminished as Roman citizens became more self-centered and the government became less supportive. A natural divide was created as the elite became more greedy as the poor had less wealth. Eventually, the trust broke down between the populace and the government. In recent years, patriotism has declined sharply in the United States as well. We are seeing the same divides today that occurred in the later stages of the Roman Empire. Some are objecting to others who want to fly the American flag on their own properties. Others are requesting that the time-honored traditions like singing the national anthem be abolished. Still others do not wish for students to learn the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. We are also seeing how Americans today have lost trust in the government, as law and authority are being ignored more and more each day. These are obvious signs of patriotism dying in America, just like it did in ancient Rome. Please let us know what you think. Here at Mind Guild, we value your views and opinions. We would appreciate your giving this video a like and subscribing to our channel. Until next time, this is Mind Guild.